Hi there. Welcome to the 2020 Recognition of Current Competency opening. The aim of this video is just to give you a rundown of the things that you will need to do in order to apply for recognition of current competency in this round. A couple of things you should be aware of before you even start: that you need to be a PTGA member, and you need to send us your first aid certificate when you sign up to be a member. You can easily go to www.polartourismguides.com and pay the membership fees on there. One thing you do need to be aware of is our qualifications framework, which looks like this. You'll see that we have 7 what we call foundation polar qualifications, and these are the things that you'll need to look at and decide, do I have the skills that exceed the levels of these qualifications, or at least equal to the level of these qualifications. So there are our foundation polar qualifications, and then up here we have 8 advanced driving endorsements. You can download all of this information quickly and easily from the PTGA website. Lead a journey in technical terrain, polar endorsement for sea kayak guiding, operations in polar bear environments, leading a polar expedition, and lead a dog sled journey. So that's all of the stuff, that all of the material that the PTGA has on offer, and for you to decide if you are going to apply to receive that qualification from us via your portfolio of evidence or not. So currently it costs $100 to join, and you'll need to be a member before you apply for your recognition of current competency application. So clicking on the link, one of the first things you'll get is this thing here. And just to run you through a few things here. We did close this off back in 2018 in October, but we've had a lot of pressure from people to reopen it because a lot of experienced guides who feel that they deserve recognition of their current competency have provided enough pressure that we're going to open this for a short period. You can obviously start creating your portfolio of evidence starting from the moment you see this or get this, but we won't be receiving any applications until April 1st, 2020, and then it will shut off on April 30th, 2020. And we won't accept anything prior to or after these dates. We'll be very stringent with that. There's an administration and review fee of $150. For a lot of people, if you knew the first round of RCC, this has gone up. It's a lot of work for us to do this. It's a premium product for us now, and we know that people want it. People pay hundreds of dollars to go on a single Zodiac course. We feel that this is still incredible value for money to receive a whole lot of qualifications from the Polar Tourism Guides Association. So you're strongly encouraged to review all of this online content, watch this film or watch this short clip, hopefully. And we also ask you to, if you can, talk to PTGA assessors or senior guides or other people who have been through this process and get as much clarity as you can to make sure that you get this right the first time around. If English isn't your first language, then that's fine. Look on our assessor list. There are also plenty of people who speak other languages who can help you out and make it more understandable for you in your own language. So a few documents that I'm going to run through here. This one in particular is a key one, and you will need to provide this here. Key words here: we need proof. As much proof as you can provide to support your application to gain our polar qualifications. The clearer and more comprehensive this portfolio it is, the quicker and easier the review is, and our ability to support and endorse you as a PTGA member and as a qualified guide increases. So we need your current first aid certificate. We need this your RCC portfolio template, which we'll get to shortly, which will have all of this material in it. We need 2 attestations, and it's your job to get those for us, not just to give us an email address for us to chase up. You need to get those, and there's a template form for you to send to those attestors. Throw in your most recent CV. If you have relevant external certifications, then put them in to support the proof that you have that you are currently competent or above. And if you've got any log books, Siemens book scans or anything like that, then throw those in as well. So all that stuff will be in a single document, which you will then zip or compress before you send to us, with your name on it as the header of your file for RCC. Now, it's worth reading through this document here. For each one of our PQs, we've given you a little bit of an idea of what it is and some of the pitfalls from our earlier sessions of RCC review, where people didn't understand it and didn't read what was in the actual qualification. So we know that you may still not read those. We'd rather you did, but we've hopefully read the short bit, because it will point you towards some of the common deficiencies that people had, which means that we have to send your review back for amendments. So please read each of these. Note the prerequisites. So even before you think you might apply for something, if you think, oh, presentation skills, I can do that, no problem. The first thing you need to be able to do is confirm that you have done more than 50 presentations delivered somewhere or other of more than 30 minutes before you do that. And that's important, certainly for some of these other active polar qualifications. Driving small boats, you might have learned how to do it, you're underway, but again, we're not interested in hearing from you unless you at least have more than 60 sessions driving in any location. And particularly when we get on to our advanced driving endorsements, please take note of these. If you've driven in some strong winds before, just remember that the requirement for strong winds in this award is exceeding 30 knots. So you might have been out in 25 knots and thought that's a strong wind. It is, but it's not part of the prerequisite. And you need to have done this more than 15 times in winds 30 knots or more before you even bother applying. If you've done 10 times, that's great, but you haven't achieved the prerequisite. So we need to read through that. So study this document. There's a lot of really good information in here, and it's an important one for you to understand. Our experience with people needing lots of amendments in the past with the RCC scheme is largely because people just haven't read the material and they send in thinking, oh yes, I can do this, but they haven't figured out what we actually need to give you recognition of current competency. So that's a critical document. This one will also be in there. It's a template for you to use for your attestation. So in this one, put your name, the name and the position of the attestor, and then what we've done for you is made it really easy. We've put all of or most of the PQs in here. It's a Word document so people can add or subtract things, and then we need the attestor to attest for you in each of the PQs that they have experience with you and why they think that you are at or above the level required by the PTGA. So that's a template for you just to help that process. Let's have a look at, this is our key document, our portfolio of evidence template. We've put most of the PQs in here for you. Your job is to just delete the ones you're not applying for. So if you're not applying for Sea Kayak Guide Polar Endorsement, just cross that out and leave all the other stuff there. If there's some of the more advanced endorsements, then you can just add them into a Word document and put those in there. So this list is simply the ones that you are applying for. Scroll down here. We move down here. Oh, sorry. Let's go back. This is the blank one. So I'll run through the blank one first and then show you one that's been filled in so you can see what it looks like. So here's all the PQs. You cross out the ones you don't want. Further down here, there's a chance for you to give us a short narrative, or as long as you want really, but to remember that you're providing us with as much proof as you can to support your application. Here, a chance for you to give us a brief overview of your experience in the polar guiding industry and your history of experience. Down to here, this is a critical table. This is where we would like you to fill in your north and south polar experience if you have them. The seasons, if you go back a long way, that's fine. We just need you, if you don't know exactly, just put an estimate here and an estimate, and then your totals, and total that up. We're just looking, if you're plus or minus 50 days, we can't track it down if you started work in the 90s either, but we need a start point for this. You'll see how all this looks when we look at a filled in application. Then in table 2, what we require you to do is estimate, identify the PQ you're applying for, estimate the number of sessions, days, or excursions you have with that particular skill area. Presentation skills, you might put 300 or estimate 300 in your career. And then we ask you to explain and provide some narrative as to your experience in that particular skill area. So you'd fill in something for each of these. Obviously, some of you may have lots and lots of experience. That's fine. If you think you've done more than 150 hikes, again, just put greater than 150 hikes in non-technical terrain, and then give us some of the places and the things that you've worked through to be a hike leader, and provide us some narrative there. And so this happens for all of the PQs you're applying for, down to our polar endorsements, through here, and our advanced qualifications down here. So this is a critical document and needs to be done really well. So let's take a step back and we'll look at one that's been filled in, so you can see that. So here's this person here. They've filled in. Here's all of the things that they're applying for as a guide, and they want us to review. Here is a brief overview of their experience. This will all be in the pack that you can download, so you can look at this in your own time. So this gives us an overview of this person's polar experience. Moving down to table 1, you can see that this person has a lot of experience right back to the 90s, and they've outlined their job, who they worked for, days and trips right through this period. So there's some work to do there. You can see that this person's a very experienced guide, and they come up with a total of 1,851 days working as an expedition staff member and ship tourism. So that's a critical piece of information. Then down to here, table 2, you can see the kind of things we want. This person is estimated in their career. They've done 500 or more presentations. They've put why they are a specialist in a particular area. A lot of people will include a document with the list of their presentations. This person hasn't here, but if you have a list of presentations that you regularly do in your polar tourism work, then everything like that helps us. Interpretation skills, you'll see on the initial document, we strongly recommend that you watch the virtual learning environment and do the virtual learning environment course in the PTGA and understand thematic interpretation. This is the model that we're using as a measurable model of interpretation skills. If you don't mention that in your RCC application, then you haven't achieved the skills and the experience that we need. So this person has a lot of experience. Moving down here, what we do need to see, again, has just made an estimate. We know that some of these numbers are going to be huge. We can't confirm that this is exact, but because of these days up here, we know and can support the fact that this person should probably be operating around in this area here. They've been using VHF radios since 1992. It's critically important because of the PQ, read it, that you have a statement and skills about using satellite telephony, because it is part of this qualification. And if you haven't used it, you need to go and sort that out. If you have, you need to make a statement in here which identifies that you have these skills. Again, you can look through this document in your own time and fill in something that's like this. So just moving through here, all of the stuff that you are applying for, give us some narrative to support why you have the skills necessary for us to give you this qualification. You'll see that this person has put in other qualifications that they've had here, and if you're going to write that you have another certification, you've got to send us that certification as well to back that up. So it's all very well saying that you have a USA Zodiac Coxswain certificate. You need to include that in your application. Moving down here, you can see that this person has worked a lot in strong winds, and they've given us some narrative of where they've worked and some understanding of what they're doing. So spend some time having a look through this document here, because this is the critical part. The bottom line is, through this whole process, if you need more help, please don't hesitate to drop us a line at the PTGA, and we can help out and explain things. We'd rather that we got one application from you and it was done right than having to keep sending it back for amendments, because that takes a lot of our time, and often you are, as guides, you're away and not in good communications and able to get things and fill these things in. And our experience is the first time through is better for people in terms of their time and investment in the whole process, and certainly for ours. So any questions whatsoever, please drop us a line at the PTGA. Thanks for applying, good luck with everything, and thanks for joining the PTGA.